This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
Leave me alone.
God, life is good. I like our show.
Before we get to Major Applewhite, can you tell our listeners about Crocker Moving Services?
They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Whether they need your whole home packed up and move, your company headquarters, which cross country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. Call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, let's go back to the Higginbotham hotline. And speaking of quarterbacks, we had a lot of quarterback conversation today. We'll continue that with Major Applewhite, who's going to join us, catch up on his football team at South Alabama, and then maybe a little bit about his offense. Coach, we were talking about, say, traditional bootlegs, traditional play actions where you turn your back to the defense. Is this something that you feel is still important, you like to implement, you don't have time for? Where would you be on these things?
I see the benefit, and I see, I see both sides of it. There's good times and bad times for every football play.
That might be the most accurate quote in the history of our show. There's a good time and bad time for every football play.
Gosh, there's a lot of ways to get in the end zone. A lot of ways.
There's no doubt. A lot of coaches, though, they want their quarterback facing the defense all the time now, and they don't want them. They don't want that bootleg where, even though it can split the defense, you got to turn around and you don't know what the defense is doing. Then is it because most quarterbacks came up that way and that's the systems that they're running? That would be my thought process in it.
Well, I mean, you get a chance to frame the ball and hide the football. When you turn around and you have the football, you're using your body as a frame is really difficult for defenses to see. When you're sitting sidecar in the shotgun and sticking the football out in front of you like a platter, people can see the football. So there's benefits to both. Sometimes it's really hard for the quarterback to get around and see what the defense is doing. So you do want him sticking the ball out in front of his face like a platter so he can see if a defensive end's coming at him. Other times you'd rather better ball fake because you're getting heavier play action. You'd rather turn around and, hide it from the defense, pull it out, and throw it over their heads. So there's and there's 1,000 other reasons other than just those two.
Coach, as you go throughout this fall camp and enjoyed catching up the last couple weeks, a lot of competition ongoing. None bigger probably than the quarterback situation. But at this point of camp, we're starting to see guys get named. What is the perfect timeline in your eyes as a guy that has played the position and has been in a quarterback competition himself as a player at Texas? What is the perfect timeline to make that decision on which direction you guys are going to go with your quarterback position?
Yeah, I think that's different with every team, every quarterback, kind of competition or whatever you want to call it. But I think the most important thing is that you call it when the team knows it. I don't think it has to be simultaneous, but the team understands who the best quarterback is. They're at practice every day, and they can understand the reps. You don't have to come out, and what I mean by say it is it's reflective in the reps. It's reflective in what the team looks like at practice. You don't have to have a press conference and name your starting quarterback. People can look and see who's working with the ones majority of the time and know that's your starting quarterback. Now, when you decide to tell your fans and those type of things, that's a different question. But the players know it. They see it every day in repetitions. They see who gets reps with the ones. They see how you rotate, and they can kind of understand where things are headed.
How has your quarterback competition gone so far through fall camp for you guys down there in Mobile?
It's been good. All three of the guys have worked hard. They've made their plays. They've made their kind of growing pain learns, and I'm learning them better, learn how to coach them better at the same time as well. This Saturday we'll have another scrimmage, and Bishop Davenport has gotten the majority of our first team reps, and he started a couple games for us last year and had a really good spring. And then when Gio Lopez entered the portal, we go to North Carolina. He continued to get better, and has earned those opportunities, and so. But this Saturday, I was getting to my point, the other two quarterbacks will get a lot more reps with the one unit. I'll get a chance to see them operate, and Greg can tell you, and we all know, that, sometimes when you get with that first group, there's not as much on your plate. You're not explaining to the backup wide receiver, the backup running back what to do, and you're able to get in there and, kind of not be everybody's chaperone. You're able to get in there and go play. And so I'll get a chance to watch those two guys operate a little bit more Saturday.
Coach, you guys have been hit a bunch by guys leaving the program for various reasons. You referenced Gio Fluff going in the portal in the offseason, ending up at Mississippi State. But it feels like with their departures, it's opened up for a lot of competition. It's probably allowing for guys that are really hungry and eager to take over that spot. Have you noticed now, because of the opportunities that some of your players have gotten elsewhere, have you noticed an increase in the interior competition that you guys are having at those spots that are vacated?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny, guys are, it's odd, because, man, I hate to lose my friend. And you're like, no, you don't. Now you get to go start. You don't hate to lose your friend. You're ready for some of these guys to go because you want to play as a quarterback. You want to play as a running back. You want to play as a tackle. And I mean, it's Greg, when we were playing, guys couldn't leave like that. I mean, you either had to beat the guy out or he had to get injured, and you didn't want that. That's not the way you wanted to get the job. You wanted to beat him out or some other circumstance. But now, you could be sitting there as a freshman and you're on your little kind of developmental plan, and then all of a sudden these two guys take off in front of you, and it's your time to go. It's your time to play. And so it's the old, be ready. Be ready. You don't know now. It's totally different than it was a few years back. So, yes, there are some guys that are extremely motivated now. That some things have kind of been moved out of the way. They can see a clearer path to the playing field. And then there's guys who have come here who have seen that, hey, they lost this position. This is a great place to go. I can go fill that spot. And we've got a lot of great competition in a lot of different positions.
Looking at what you have back defensively, a lot of new faces. You do have some proven production. Guys that have made some plays for you in the past. Last year, you guys were really good at turning folks over. You really have been good at turning folks over for a number of years now. What growth can we expect on that side of the ball from where they were last year?
Well, I think inside our backers are returning. So we, Blaine Myrick from Fairhope is a returning, preseason all conference. I know those awards preseason don't mean much, but they do to me because I've watched Blaine play, and I think he's a really good football player. He's got great instincts, and he's a better athlete than you think. So we're better inside at the backer position, deeper there. We have a lot of good young talent that just hasn't played a lot of experience on-field experience, but we have a lot of good talent and length and size inside. I'm eager to see our front. We've kind of hung our hat on some of the older guys the last couple of years, so I'm eager to see these younger guys play for us. There will be some growing pains, no doubt, early in the season, especially when you're playing people like Tulane and Auburn. You're going to get tested, but that's going to be good for some of those guys because I think there's a lot of potential in there. Corner is a position that's been tough for us. I mean, I'll just call it what it is. We lost 3 guys to the portal. We lost 1 to Ole Miss. We lost 1 to Wake Forest. We lost 1 to Kansas State. So when you play 4 corners and 3 of them leave in the portal, it's not add water or instant grits. Especially if you don't have $20.5 million. So it's go out and find somebody, get somebody who's younger, get them better, do your job, be a coach, develop this guy. It's tough, but it is what it is. That's what I see defensively. I think some of the safety play will be better. I think we've got some range back there and some guys who played some snaps. So some areas a little bit better, some areas not as deep, not as strong.
It feels like your philosophy in the portal is get guys closer back to home a little bit. You got a couple of players from the state of Alabama that are going to be back competing for spots on your roster. From getting guys out of the portal to try to come play for you, has that been a big emphasis point of either locally there, Mobile kids, we know how much talent's coming out of there every year, or just guys from the state of Alabama to be able to come back and play in the state they played high school ball in?
It is. It's not as strong of a pull as it was 2 or 3 years ago because the revenue share.
Right.
Once that occurred and, 4 or 5 conferences started getting, whatever that number is, they're all working towards $20.5 million. You may have a young man that leaves from, say, south of Montgomery, and Troy and South Alabama are the best opportunities for him to come back. He decided to go to Michigan, and it was too far, and he didn't like it, and now he wants to leave. But Michigan paid him $400,000 to go up there. Well, there's a lot of other opportunities between $400,000 at Michigan and the amount that we're able to pay him. So sometimes they stop at Memphis for $125. Sometimes they stop at XYZ for $150. So it's not what it was 4 or 5 years ago when it was just simply NIL money. There's a heck of a lot more money there now. So it's a little bit different. That's the reality of it. Yes, that is a draw. I'm not going to tell you it's not. It is a draw. You do want to get back closer to home. Your mom, your dad, everybody see you play. But when somebody else calls you from maybe the Big 12 and says, hey, I know it didn't work out for you in the Big 10, but we'll pay you half of what you were making over there, and you can come over here to Waco. Then that kid, sometimes he just listens to that still. And so it can be a positive, and at the same time, money's important to people. And so, they make those kind of decisions based on money. Same reason we're probably doing this radio interview. That's why people do things. And so they're making decisions based off of what money's best. So, yes, you can get guys to come back, but you're probably not getting them if they're at that level and they're making that kind of money. It's not just a direct step to the school.
There's no denying, though, Coach, that you guys at South are in the midst of one of the great eras of South Alabama football history. And I know it's not the longest history in the world, but it's arguably the best 3-year stretch ever. 3 straight winning seasons, a lot of really positive moments here over the last few years. Have you noticed a difference? You've been there now for a little bit. Have you noticed a difference now with the acknowledgement of the quality that y'all are playing down in Mobile compared to maybe when you took the job? Just the proof of concept playing out and the success that you've had has to now lead to different conversations with a different type of player.
You're right. 100%. I see it in the eyes of the kids that we're recruiting. When I was here in 2021, obviously we were still coming off some of the COVID restrictions and those things, but whenever they came to camp, or you had a chance to see them during that first season in 2021 when they came, it was, a lot of looking around, trying to take in, what is this? I've heard about South Alabama. I've heard about some wins, but and then over the course of those 3 years and going to 2 bowl games and then winning one again last year, kids understand, okay, I know where we're at. I know who you are. I saw you on this Tuesday night game. I heard about the Oklahoma State game when y'all went up there. There's a little bit more recognition, familiarity. And kids see this as an opportunity, even though some might see it as a negative, when you do have the number of players that have gone to the portal and are going to, be at great spots, great schools, and I love my school, don't get me wrong, but, these kids are looking at it and saying, hey, I want to play at the highest level. I want to play for Alabama. I want to play for Georgia. I want to play for Texas and Notre Dame. And that's the way kids come out of high school. But they also understand this is a great education, very close to home. There's a lot of really good football players that have come here. Some have played 12 games and moved on. Some have played 24 games and moved on. But when they see our campus and they see what we have here in Mobile and its closeness and the proximity to their families, they see it as much more of a real opportunity. And, I don't have to state the obvious. My God, we got a lot of great football players, right here off of I-10 between Baton Rouge and Tallahassee. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Well, Coach, we wish you the best. We appreciate the time that you gave us this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's been a joy watching your team the last few years, and hope you guys can continue that this season.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Y'all have a great week.
Absolutely. Major Applewhite, South Alabama head football coach, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. And, it's tough to argue with a lot that he throws out there, G-Mac. It's accurate. It's where we are in today's college football.
It is, but it's amazing, I think, what South has kind of carved out. A program that was kind of born not too long ago to now becoming a team that is a perennial bowl team and a team with legitimate expectations this year. And while the Sun Belt is rock solid now, that's a really, really good league. Everyone will tell you that. The personnel in that league is tremendous. And the teams that you'll have to face from a talent standpoint year in, year out is a handful. There's no secret. South and many others in the Sun Belt, their players are actively getting recruited by other places because of how good the talent is in that conference as a whole. So I think there's a lot to be excited about with South. I think Major's done a good job once Kane decided to become the DC at Bama. I think Major's done a good job stepping in and kind of keeping things the same, kind of keeping things on the same straight line path that they were on, but tough schedule this year. And they had some diamonds in the rough that were found. And now finding some of those replacements for the guys that left will be a real challenge. But it's hard to bet against them, given what they've done the last few years.
No, there is. He's got some options at quarterback, as you mentioned. You get Zach Pyron from Georgia Tech. You got Bishop Davenport there. He said he'll get more reps in the spring. But going back to what you pointed out, Darius McKenzie, quarterback of the defense, back. Blaine Myrick back at off-the-ball linebacker as well. That's 2 of your top 3 leading tacklers that are back from a year ago. and he sounds like he feels pretty good about some of the younger defensive linemen. Well, have been younger in previous years, but now their turn to maybe step in and be able to do some damage up front. So it'll be an interesting watch because, as you stated, quarterback, running back, you lose two of those that were as productive as they were, it's concerning. But I'll say this, after it all went down and I went back to watch Fluff Bothwell because I was going to have to cover Mississippi State, Kentrell Bullock is a kid that I kept seeing showing up on film, and I was like, which one are they getting? Because I like both these guys.
Yeah. And
he can go. So they'll be fine at running back. I mean, kid averaged basically 12 yards a carry last year on 152 carries.
Right.
I mean, he's explosive. So there are parts of his game that I like more than Bothwell's. But you lose a quarterback that had what Gio had, that's tough, man. You can't just replug that.
No, I mean, he was a good player for him. But I like Zach Pyron, who they brought down from Georgia Tech. He filled in a couple times last year when Haynes King was a little banged up. Like, he's got some mobility, he's got some athleticism. But it sounds like the guy that is kind of holding things down, Gavin, is doing a pretty good job with where they're at. Has a good feel for the position, or Bishop Davenport, not Gavin. Bishop Davenport has a good feel for what they do offensively, has already spot started in the past. So with him having a leg up, it's good, but it's nice to know that competition is going to continue on this weekend. They're going to get a good long look from the other two guys, see if those guys can potentially unseat Bishop Davenport there in the lead spot. But they have depth at that position, which is helpful because there is some turnover on both lines of scrimmage.
All right, so we got some other college football news. We'll get you on the other side. Other football news in general, a new coach in state, a new stadium going up, some transfer news, eligibility news. We'll get to all of that around all of football next on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, three-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.